Hey guys, my name is Matimio, and welcome to another episode of Sunday Mailbox, a video series where you, the viewers, submit your gaming or Battlefield 3 related questions, and then I give my humble opinion on them. If you would like to submit your own question for a future episode, you can do so by sending me a YouTube message with the title line Q&A, and like I said, I could talk about it in an upcoming episode. The first question for today is, I had a question about weighing the value of attachment, specifically the suppressor. I asked because it's one of the less talked about attachments, and the ability to go around unnoticed while firing seems like a really useful thing. I've had great success sneaking behind the front lines with things like the suppressed L86A2, MG36, or the AS Val. However, for guns that have the option, I've been wondering if things like the heavy barrel or even the laser sight would be more beneficial to the killing power of the gun in question. Where do you think the attachments rate in terms of give and take? Is it a gray area where the situation dictates the attachment, or are there some attachments that are good on paper while just not hold up on the field? I'd have to say that all of the attachments, at least in my opinion, on paper, pretty much perform exactly how I would think on the battlefield. There really isn't any one where it sounds like it's going to be awesome, but really it doesn't perform all that well. I guess you could maybe say that for the suppressor. Like you said, there isn't a lot of people that use it right now. I mean, it was one of the most used attachments in the game. It was absolutely fantastic. There really wasn't any negative aspect to it, and you pretty much just stayed off the radar, and it also reduced your weapon's recoil. It was amazing. But now what they've done is they've made it so that it makes you less effective at long range or even medium range, and it's more of a close quarter weapon, and it also has the benefit of keeping you off the map. And I know a lot of people don't use it at all because they just think it sucks on paper. And I have to say that it isn't that great of an attachment if you don't use it correctly, but I guess, for your question, is there one that is, it sounds great on paper, but it's not? I would have to say that the suppressor sounds terrible on paper, but it's actually not too bad, and I actually really like to use it on weapons like the M16A3, or like you said, with the L86A2. I mean, it's not good on all weapons, but if you move around the map correctly, and you make sure that all of your engagements are up close, and you're taking a more, kind of stealthy route to your playstyle, then the suppressor is very, very good. And since that patch, a lot of people haven't been using it, so a lot of people rely on their minimap religiously. All they do is stare at that thing because really no one uses a suppressor anymore, so everyone's going to show up. So if you are using the suppressor, you're going to catch a lot of people off guard, and there were some matches where I will take out a target and I'll see someone running directly towards me, and you can tell that they're just staring at their minimap because they don't actually see me. They saw their ally die, they'll look at the minimap, not see anything, and they'll kind of like look confused, and then I'll take them out really quickly after. So I'd have to say that no, there isn't any attachment that looks amazing on paper, but does performs poorly. I think it's the other way around, and that would have to be the suppressor. As for your other question here, I do think that the situation dictates what attachments perform well. I mean, that's exactly why you would want to use one over the other in a certain situation. So if you're using, let's say, the heavy barrel, you're going to want to keep engagements at medium to long range. That isn't to say that's not going to perform well up close, but if you're trying to optimize and you're trying to get everything, the most bang for your buck out of the weapon with the heavy barrel, you're going to want to use it at medium to long range. That's also true for something like the suppressor or the laser sight. If you're going to want to play up close and personal and go for those more stealthy assassin-like playstyle. So yeah, absolutely, what attachment you use is going to dictate how well you perform in those situations. The next question comes in from Golden Guns, who asks, I've thought about something that Battlefield 3 doesn't have, a semi-auto sniper with high damage. I was hoping DICE would have added one in the first two DLCs. In the campaign missions, you get to use one, and in my opinion, the sniper looks and sounds powerful. Do you think that one should be added into the multiplayer? So I think I remember what weapon you were talking about. I believe it was in the co-op, and you're absolutely right. It was a beast of a weapon. It was a lot of fun to use, but you have to remember that it is a single player or co-op in this case, and it's not going to translate on over into the multiplayer where they have to be concerned with balance issues. I mean, if you played it in the co-op, I remember right, if you got a headshot pretty much at any range, it was a one shot, one kill. And if that was the case in the multiplayer, you would really have no incentive to use anything other than that particular semi-automatic rifle. Why would you want to use the SV98 or one of the bolt-action rifles that have a slower RPM when, you know, they don't get a one-shot, one-kill to the body? I mean, up close, sure, in some circumstances, if you have a nice shot. but really the only way you're going to get a kill with a bolt-action rifle is if you get a headshot. And if it was the same thing in the co-op, then this semi-automatic rifle, if you got a headshot at any range, you're going to get a one-shot, one-kill to the head as well. So why would you want to use the bolt-action rifles that have a slower RPM compared to this higher RPM semi-automatic rifle? It really just wouldn't work in Battlefield or, in the multiplayer. So no, I would not want to see it. Sure, it would be kind of cool to have a higher damage semi-automatic rifle, but really, when you think about how DICE is going to balance the game, that is one of the reasons why they haven't increased the damage for the semi-automatic rifles, for that very reason. Because if they did that, they would become overpowered, and there really wouldn't be any incentive to use anything else. And people want variety. When they play a game, they don't want to be pigeonholed down into one role or to use one gun. That's why a lot of people are upset with the M16A3. They feel like they have to use it to be competitive, and they don't like that. So if that was the case for a semi-automatic rifle for the recon class, people wouldn't like that, and they feel like they would have to use it to perform well. The final question for today is, recently it's become more and more frustrating for me when people in my squad double or even sometimes triple stack perks. What do you think about DICE implementing a feature that a player can't spawn in or gets a pop-up message if one or more of his squad mates is running the same perk? So you are definitely not alone with this frustration. I get messages pretty much every week with someone trying to explain a system that would hopefully solve this problem. But I'd have to say that I do like your suggestions. Maybe not being able to spawn in would be going a little bit too far and would get a little annoying, but having some sort of pop-up message every once in a while I think would be a nice solution, and I don't think it would solve the problem by any means, and I still think people would ignore it and continue on with their play session, but I do think for the vast majority of people, if they saw that message, they would take the time to switch their perk. Another suggestion I have is if DICE kind of color-coded things. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you have your squad, your squad mates all over there. They're all in green. I think that if DICE puts the squad specializations in red, if there were two of the same kind, it would be a really nice, easy, quick way for you to assess if your teammates are using the same perk, and you can quickly change that the next time you die. Those are my suggestions. I do think what you have is great as well, and I would honestly like to see that in game. But that's it for today's Sunday Mailbox, guys. I hope you enjoyed. Now you know what I thought about these 3 topics. I would love to hear what you guys think in the comments section below. If you guys enjoyed the video or just want to support my channel, I always appreciate it when you give my videos a rating, and if you haven't already, subscribe for more. But until next time, guys, have a good one and take it easy.